Hey, what I want to do today is I want to run these airlines. I have another garage in the backyard that is detached from the house, and I want to connect the two together so that I can also connect both of my air compressors together. And the only way to do that is to run it through the attic between the downstairs ceiling and the upstairs floor. And I'm also got some 1.5-inch conduit because I want to replace the main panel, sub panel on the detached garage because it only has 40 amps going to it. And I'm going to run the conduit between the floor also so I can slide the wires through. But what I'm going to have to do is go upstairs, take part of the carpet out, and take the plywood out so I can get the pipe through there and clamp it down right. Okay, so I got the pipe and the airline ran. Yeah, this floor was all glued down, so it's hard to get it out of there. Okay, now I'm going to drill a hole through the wall so that it goes on the outside, and I'm going to hook all these pipes together. Yeah, I'm up in the attic so I can't see real well. And to drill through stucco, you need one of these bits that's got like grit on the end of it. Okay, and the best way to drill a hole through here is just to hold the pipe up, mark around it, and then drill it from the inside. And what I've been using to mount the pipe to the stucco is these things right here. They seem to work all right. Yeah, I got the pipe all connected to the one outside. Now I got to go do the other end to where it hooks where the compressor is. And it's so dark in here you can't see anything. Yeah, I got it all hooked up. Now it runs all the way to the other side of the house. And it's capped off over there. Yeah, so next I'm going to put the conduit in on the side of the house for the electrical to go through. And the only place I could find one of these hole saws big enough for drilling through stucco was at Harbor Freight. Yeah, I put some quick couplers in on the outside. And I decided to go with a 125 amp sub panel because it's got 20 spaces. Each 240 volt breaker takes up 2 spaces. So I think when I get everything in there I'll have 2 spaces left over. But what the problem is here, between the two 2x4s at the bottom we got 14.5 inches, what it's supposed to be. But at the top it's not mounted in there straight. So I got to move the one 2x4 over about 1 inch. Yeah, when I mount these 50 amp plug sockets in the wall, I like it to where the box doesn't move around at all. So I just made this bracket and welded to it. Yeah, I can't believe somebody put a piece of rebar in the ground for the ground rod. Yeah, I'll have to fix that also. Yeah, I got the old sub panel out. The first step to doing this would be to move all these wires over here. Yeah, what the problem is here, the stucco is bulging out, so I can't get the panel all the way in, so I'm grinding it down right now. Yeah, I got the sub panel installed. These plug sockets are just temporary, and I'm going to have to drill through the foundation for the 2-inch conduit to come up here. Yeah, this is just hooked up to the original wires right now. And up here, when I moved this 2x4 over, I made this little bracket to hold it. I had to use a sawzall and cut the nails. And it wasn't easy to move this because it's nailed all into the stucco. Yeah, I just got the wire. Originally I was going to go with 2-gauge copper wire, but it's only good for 95 amps, and it would have been $1,000. So what I did was went with 1/0 aluminum wire, which is good for 125 amps, and it was only $300. Only thing here they still use aluminum wire for is the main wires that go into a house and the wires that run from a main panel to a sub panel. I also got the soft copper pipe that's going to run underground for the airlines, and I had to go with 3/4 inch because the inside diameter on soft copper pipe is much smaller, and the only way they would sell it to me is in 60-foot rolls. Yeah, the hard part is going to be to run this cable through the attic. It's pretty heavy. Yeah, I got the wire running through the attic. It wasn't easy to do that. But whatever's left over I'll just shove up into the attic, so when I replace, eventually I'm going to replace the main panel and the wire will be a little longer in case I need it. Yeah, I got the wire all ran to the main panel, and I already hooked the neutral and the ground up. And on this end, I just shoved the wire back up into the attic for now. Okay, what I'm going to do next is replace the wire going to the stove. I've already cut the sheetrock out. It's got aluminum wire going to it with copper wire attached to it, making the plug socket come out down here. I've already replaced the aluminum wire going to the dryer and the air conditioning. And I'm also going to cut a hole through the wall and put another plug socket on the outside of the house while I got the sheetrock out. And to drill the holes through the foundation, I had to order this concrete core bit off of eBay. Now we're about to see if it actually works. Yeah, I got one of the holes drilled. Yeah, I just been dumping a little bit of water in this hole. But what happened is it broke one of the diamond cutters off. Hopefully I can drill the other second hole. Well, I got 1.5 of the holes drilled. I've been dumping a little bit of water in here each time. This is actually supposed to be used by a special drill and outside, but there's no way of doing that inside the wall. That's as far as I'm going to go until this conduit, the wires come out of it and the power's turned off. And here's what one of the pieces looks like after you break that off. Yeah, I went and made the brackets for this box too. This one's going to mount all the way to the floor. Another problem you have if you drill into the side of this box right here and screw it down, as soon as you tighten the screws down, it kind of gets in an angle. So it is much better to do it this way. So I got that box mounted on there. Now I'm going to figure out where I want to put the plug on the outside. And how I put these outside plug sockets in is I just hold the box up on the inside in the 2x4, then I trace around it and I'll drill 6 holes through there with a masonry bit through the stucco. Then I have one of those blades on the jigsaw that's got grit on it, and then I cut it out from the other side. Okay, and I got the other box mounted for the plug on the outside of the house. I probably have the only house that has 5 plug sockets on the outside and an airline running through the upstairs floor. Now all I got to do is just go buy all the wire, and then that's going to be the hard part, to run all the 6-gauge wire for this, because it goes all through the floor and everything else. Okay, so I got the new piece of sheetrock cut out. Now I just got to go buy the wire and I can finish putting this back together. Yeah, I got the concrete cut out. And this conduit's going to be for the airline, and I'm also going to put a ground rod in here. Yeah, I'm getting too old to dig this myself. I sure could have used one of those guys standing outside Home Depot to do this. Yeah, I got the airline all ran. It wasn't easy to get that soft copper pipe to the 2-inch conduit. I had to put the pipe through the conduit as I was putting it together. And this is just temporary here. Eventually it'll come out of the wall just below the ceiling, and it'll have a T in it and it'll go both directions. Yeah, I already had to remove the existing wire and cut the conduit off because it was right in the way. Yeah, I got the conduit in for the electrical. You're supposed to tape the end up right where the two go together. This isn't the proper tape, but that's what I had. And the wires went through there pretty easy. I did put some of this stuff on it to make it slide through there easier. I didn't have to have somebody pulling at the other end. Okay, and when you're hooking aluminum wires up, you should put some of this stuff on the end to keep it from getting corroded. Okay, I got it all wired on this end. And with cutting this great big wire, this tool you just have to have. You use regular cutters, it damages the end because it just barely goes through the neutral bar anyways, it won't fit through there. Okay, and I saw pictures online on how to make this. This is just one of these hose pieces, and it's hammered into a piece of 1/2-inch conduit. This is supposed to make the hole for the ground rod. At the other end, you just weld a little piece of metal in there. Yeah, I'm not sure if it works yet. Okay, and I also bought one of these so I can turn the water on when I'm up on the ladder. And this is the one with the big hole in the inside. Okay, this tool for putting the ground rod in actually works, but it doesn't go very fast. I took the ground rod and bent the end, heated it up and bent it in just so I don't slip and fall on that. Here was the original neutral bar, and I had to replace it with one with 5 holes in it. I had to take the piece out that it attaches to and re-drill it to make that work. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a lot of negative comments for hooking this up this way, but I'm going to put heat shrink tubing on it after. Eventually I'll replace this main panel with a 200 amp panel with 2 100 amp breakers. Yeah, I also took and cut these pieces off so it'd give it a little bit more room. Okay, that's called OSHA approved YouTube garage gang wiring. Now let me go see if I can wire that plug socket that's on the outside of the house. Just right behind that light. Maybe I can get the wires to go down through the hole. Yeah, this was not easy to pull this wire through here. What I did was I took 2 welding rods, welded them together and stuck it through the hole and then taped the wire to it and pulled it through. Yeah, and what I did was tape the welding rod back to it so when I'm ready to pull the 6-3 wire through, it's already there. Yeah, and this is up in the attic. You can see the welding rod taped to the wire. And I'll just untape that, hook that onto the 6-3 wire and pull it through. Okay, what it's going to get connected to is this junction box up in the attic. And if I'm careful, I can hook this up without turning the power off. I guess I'm feeling lucky today. Yeah, I got it all wired. Yeah, I just got the 6-3 wire. It was a lot better deal to buy 125 feet even though I only need 70 feet. Eventually I'll use the rest anyways. And the easiest way to tell if you have aluminum wire in your house is going to the 220 volt breakers. You'll see 2 black wires. And the neutral won't have any insulation on it. Yeah, I took a piece of exhaust pipe and drilled some holes in it and made this redneck wire feeder. Yeah, I got it all wired on this end. It wasn't easy to run that wire. It's so hot up in the attic. Now let me see if I can hook the other end up. Yeah, when they extended this plug down, they only ran 10 gauge wire. That was just an accident waiting to happen. Okay, I got it all hooked up. Now I got to fix the wall. I had to fight with getting these wires to. There's just too many wires going through that one hole. Yeah, I got the sheetrock back in. Maybe tomorrow I'll paint this and put that cover back on. Okay, I got the wall fixed behind the stove. It's not perfect, but you can't see it anyways. Okay, I got the rebar and the forms in there. I drilled into the concrete just to make it stronger, but the only way I was able to get the drill in there was in an angle. And I'm going to do this in 2 sections, because it is a bit much to do this all at once, mix all this concrete in a wheelbarrow with a shovel. Yeah, and this area out here is just going to be to stand on while you plug these houses in. Yeah, I got one section of the concrete poured. I got a little bit too wet, but there's an easy way to fix that. In about one day, you just pressure wash off everything that went over the sides. Yeah, that's what I did over here. And this is what it looks like after I pressure washed off the sides where I went over the edge. It doesn't look too bad. It was kind of hard to see the lines on the one side. And this is what it took to get this to the proper height. I just took some 4x6s and I drilled into it with a 2-inch hole saw and then broke the piece out of there so the wheels fit down there. Okay, I got the second section of concrete done. I just got to clean up around the edges. I also put another ground rod in here. There's supposed to be 2 of them and they're supposed to be at least 6 feet apart. I'm not going to wire this one until I rip all the sheetrock out. Okay, I got the rest of the concrete pressure washed off. Now it doesn't look too bad. What I normally do is get the concrete wet like twice a day for a couple weeks so it dries slower and doesn't crack. I had the wrong clamp on this ground rod. I just put the right one on here. Hey, in the next video what I want to do is replace this door with a door that rolls up like a shop has. That way when the door's open, it doesn't drop the ceiling down, and it doesn't block the lights. And I also want to replace this door, but what I want to do is cut the foundation out so the door is down on the ground the way it's supposed to be. And I'll also put a security door up on the outside. And I want to make bars to go over these windows. And right out here I want to put one of those metal carports up. In the last video I'll do up all the lights, plug sockets, and plumbing for the air compressor. Yeah, I'm glad this part of the project's finally finished. Now I'm ready for a beer.